Welcome to another episode of Heat Check. We are very excited to begin the second season of Heat Check. We are back for year two. Year two, let's get some hype.
Yeah.
So to kick off the new year and the new season, first episode, we have some good stuff lined up. There's some questions that we've been burning to talk about all summer long. Some in the realm of the football world in the NFL, and some in the more culinary section of the sandwich world. And we'll get to those. And we'll have enough time to talk about them. So really looking forward to that. Excited to be back. I'm joined by
Aron Jaffe, Joey Bohley,
Ethan Dewald,
Dylan Wolfson,
Brandon LaRocco,
and I'm Abhishek Goel. Let's get it, boys! All right. Something that has divided many great intellectuals of our time. Not so much of, other times. This is more of like a present day kind of issue.
Contemporary.
I've seen many a scholar debate this topic over Twitter, over Instagram, and even MySpace, to be honest.
Really?
Yeah.
You're on MySpace still?
No. No. But the question that we've been posed and that we want to discuss is asking, what is a sandwich? And you may, when you hear the word sandwich, we all think of something. It may be a little different for each of us, but some people may go straight to Subway, the sandwich. Some people may go straight to a ham and cheese or something like that. There are a lot of different things that can constitute something being a sandwich, and we just want to unpack some of those and figure out what some of the qualifiers and disqualifiers are. So let's start with the basics.
Yeah. So we pulled this chart up. I don't even, where did we find it?
I actually got this chart from a friend. Sent to me over the summer. It was from a meme page, I believe, but it was sent to me.
It's pretty valid, though.
Yeah, this is it's very, very interesting. So you can find the diagram that we are referring to right now on the Instagram page at HeatCheckPod. It'll be included with the post, and it is very helpful to follow along, and as well to form your own opinion on what a sandwich is and where you stand on the spectrum of what a sandwich is. So go check out our Instagram. Thanks.
So basically what we got going on here is we got a y-axis and an x-axis. On the x-axis we have ingredients, and there's three different categories concerning ingredients. There's the ingredient purist. Ingredient purists believe that sandwiches must have classic sandwich toppings such as meat, cheese, lettuce, condiments, etc. Then the ingredient neutral, which means that sandwiches can contain a broader scope of savory ingredients. And then there's the ingredient rebel, who believe that a sandwich can contain literally any two food products or more than two food products sandwiched together.
Yeah.
And then here on the y-axis, we've got the structure category. Structure purist believes that a sandwich must have a classic quote-unquote sandwich shape, which would be two pieces of bread / baked product with toppings in between. Structure neutrals believe that the container must be on either side of the toppings, but not necessarily two separate pieces. And then the structure rebel believes that a sandwich can contain any food enveloped in any way by a containing food.
Yeah.
And then we've got 9 different subsets.
9 different examples. To kind of show where you line up.
Yeah.
On the sandwich alignment chart.
I mean, I don't know, Dylan. Where do you fall on the sandwich alignment chart?
Well, I don't believe that a hot dog is a sandwich. So the true neutral is that a hot dog is a sandwich,
and that is, may I point out, the cornerstone question, and probably the most polarizing question that is surrounded by this topic.
I mean, yeah, you can see radical sandwich anarchy. The example they have is a Pop-Tart is a sandwich. I would like
which
to
is a very interesting question.
Pop-Tart's a ravioli.
Yeah, I would say.
I'd like to imagine that, if you had a survey and asked people if a Pop-Tart was a sandwich, it'd be highly favorable to the side that says no. But, I mean, a hot dog, that's a much more divisive issue.
Have you ever heard anyone actually say that a Pop-Tart is a sandwich?
I've heard people argue it. I don't know about seriously, but definitely jokingly.
I've heard the ravioli comparison, which I think is the most accurate comparison for a Pop-Tart.
I've also had really a Pop-Tart is a dumpling, because a ravioli is a type of dumpling, and to which I say that's fair.
Interesting.
mean,
a dumpling. I don't know.
I
about
mean, if you think
dumpling.
about it, like
I guess
Chinese
a ravioli
invented
kind of
noodles,
is a dumpling.
Yeah, so it's basically like the Italian take on a Chinese dumpling.
Sure. Interesting.
Then a Pop-Tart is the American take.
On the Chinese dumpling. And I think that's beautiful. But yeah, so I think most people would agree that, a BLT or a ham and cheese sandwich.
Like those are sandwiches.
I mean, it has sandwich in the name.
Yeah. I think most people, when you go to Subway,
Yeah.
I mean, this is just my opinion at least. I mean, it's one piece of bread because they're connected, but it's surrounding the ingredients and it's sandwich ingredients. So,
but where does it stop? Does that mean a burrito's a sandwich too?
No.
Because it's surrounded. It's really getting complicated.
yeah. I don't know about burrito because that it's also, I think it's the type of thing that's surrounding it.
Yeah, I think that for me, structurally, to have it surrounded, to have it enveloped by a starch 360 degrees, I think immediately renders it not a sandwich. Because at least with a sub, there's an open part of it.
What about white bread? What's the difference?
White bread has an open part. Look
Okay.
at the BLT picture, bro.
Well,
You can
okay.
see the bacon.
What about even Jimmy John's sandwiches? They're completely surrounded.
That is
They're supposed
very
to be
true.
at least. You scoop out the middle. So then is that not a
No,
sandwich?
they're not completely surrounded.
They're supposed to be.
Nah, the ones I got always had an opening. On the...
Shit, we
Pretty
have some
sure.
controversy.
Ooh,
Yeah.
Jimmy John's corporate needs to answer us.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's too busy doing
Let us know.
For me, I guess I'm an ingredient rebel. I don't really care what's on the sandwich. I'm more of I would probably be a structural purist with the exception of the Subway sandwiches, the ones that are connected on one side. There's sub sandwiches that aren't connected, that aren't connected. And it's just one thing. Obviously those are in, but even the ones that have the one side that's connected, I would still say those are
So
sandwiches.
here's my question.
Are you about to say hot dog?
No,
okay.
but it's a serious question. For you, what makes a sub a sandwich and a hot dog not a sandwich?
The way that you eat it, and the way when you eat a
What
hot
you put
dog.
on it.
Yeah, I guess that too. But not really
You
for
could
me.
put
But
mustard on a sandwich.
but for me, it's the when
yeah.
you eat a hot dog. I mean, some people eat it differently, but traditionally, people just eat it with the opening up.
Sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, there's
as opposed
people-
to a
that's-
sub where it's
But
on
a
the
sub,
side.
you're eating it with the covered half.
There's still a
up.
top and a bottom.
Yeah,
Even though
you're
they're
eating it-
connected. There's still a distinguishable. You
I
can
mean,
take
you're
off the
eating it the
top,
way
take
you'd
off
eat
the
a regular
bottom.
So if you
sandwich.
turn a hot dog on its side, then it's a sandwich.
That's what it sounds like.
That's a fair argument.
That's what it sounds like.
But
you're saying.
no, because to me that's not how it's intended to be
All right, that's fair.
eaten.
But then you
Interesting.
hear the term a sausage sandwich with an Italian sausage. That's considered a sandwich. That's literally a hot dog.
I mean, it's
So a bratwurst is what we're talking about.
Or an Italian
Oh,
sauce,
just
like
Italian.
Italian
Okay, yeah,
sausage
okay,
with
yeah, I
peppers
got
and
you, I got
onions
you.
and bratwurst. Technically, they're called sausage sandwiches.
Yeah.
Maybe that's just because of how they look, or the fact that you're eating them with bread. But I just find it funny
Well,
that
I mean,
the hot dog is not considered.
yeah.
Because part of the thing is a hot dog bun isn't the same as a traditional sandwich bun. It's a different type of bread that you're enveloping it in.
That's true.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's not like you're going to make a sub on a hot dog bun. Even a sub roll.
Yeah, I
and a
mean,
hot dog
and there's
bun are
really
two
not even that big of an
different things.
opening. I mean, when you eat it sideways like that, you're almost enclosing it
Yeah, that's
too.
true.
So you have to think about that.
Yeah. Here's another question. If you guys don't like how the hot dog is shaped,
Okay.
where does a corn dog fall on this?
Bro, okay, so
There's no way.
Yeah.
That's as far from a sandwich as you can get.
yeah.
those are just big pigs in a blanket.
It's a separate category.
Well, yeah, that's
so
entirely.
no sandwich.
No, it's
not
completely
at all.
covered.
It's not even on the chart. It's out of
Yeah,
context.
it's like
Yeah.
I mean, I
It's
think
a ravioli.
that would fall under radical sandwich.
That is very radical.
that's just a meaty pop tart.
Okay, but okay. So can we argue that I feel like most people in this room believe that an ice cream sandwich is a sandwich?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No doubt.
The thing is, I would call it a sandwich, but if you say sandwich, I don't think.
Yeah,
of
like
that.
if you say I'm gonna go eat a
Sure,
sandwich,
yeah.
like
I don't think of ice cream when I think of a sandwich.
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
But what about an ice cream taco?
I mean, I don't even
think
go
tacos.
yeah,
regular tacos
yeah,
aren't even
because it's like
Yeah, what about regular taco?
Well, like-
what's so different between a regular taco and a sandwich. Because I feel like a taco is definitely in
Like a
between
hard taco?
a burrito. Both hard and soft.
I mean, a
yes.
soft taco I feel is more analogous to a burrito. But
Yeah.
if you look at the hard taco, it just goes back to what Brandon was saying earlier about the way you eat it and which direction
Yeah.
the opening is facing. Like, it's still facing up.
Sure.
Unless you turn it on its side.
But when you eat it, you don't eat it upwards.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean,
Some
it's.
people do.
I mean, it's still. It's just. It's
You
just.
can turn it, yeah. I've done
But I wouldn't eat it exactly like how to eat a sandwich. It'd spill all
Yeah.
over the
Yeah,
place.
that's presented.
Yeah.
very
I mean,
guess it's
yeah.
also like how you build it also, because like when you make a sandwich, regardless of whether it's a sub, like a Subway or Jimmy John's sub, or like a BLT, you have like the bottom half or the first half of the sandwich. You put the toppings, whatever they are, in the middle, and then you have to put the other top on there. Where you get the taco, like the shell's intact. You
Yeah.
put stuff in it. Like, does that kind of negate
I mean, that's
the
kind of
whole?
valid.
Does that negate the whole like?
I mean, it would also be like analogous to a hot dog in that way too, in that it's a pre-prepared, I guess, just like bread sort of
Bowl.
yeah, it's like not like a bowl, but like a bun. I mean, I don't even know a better word
Yeah,
for it.
shell.
Like,
Yeah.
a shell or some sort of vessel in which to place the ingredients.
A vessel.
I mean,
like that word.
unlike the traditional sandwich where you put, bread or, I guess lettuce sandwiches are a thing now. I mean, you
Yeah.
just
Has anyone
stack
had?
them and
Has
then
anyone
top
here
it.
had a hot brown sandwich?
What is
So
that?
I'm gonna have to ask what that is.
It's like a
So
prank.
basically,
Google
what
this.
it is, it's a big thing like in the South. I've been told I had it one time when I took a trip to Charleston. But it's a sandwich, but it's an open top sandwich. So there's only one piece of bread, and it's at the bottom. And you have all your fixins for the sandwich, and then on top,
Our Colonel
The real
Sanders.
Southerner in a podcast.
and then
Abhishek.
instead of putting another piece of bread on top, there's none of that. Instead, they pour gravy on top usually, or some kind of something like that. But
So-
a lot of people would argue that is a sandwich. Now, a big difference is that you don't hold it, you don't pick it up.
Yeah, you gotta
It's not meant
use
to. Yeah, you fork and knife. But
I mean, I feel like that's not really a sandwich then.
I mean,
It-
if it doesn't have
not.
a top at that point, then you could literally
so does it make a difference how you hold it? Because
kind of because
I have to see a picture of this.
If you go with that
I'll pull it
argument,
up.
Mr.
some-
Joey, can you please pull
Yeah.
a picture of
Yeah.
a hot brown
Yeah.
sandwich for
Hold
us?
up. Is lasagna a sandwich?
Nah, bro.
No, it's
lasagna.
a cake.
Oh, that's never mind.
But you bake
Case
it.
closed, case closed.
You bake it.
Hot brown, hot brown.
It's a tomato cake.
if you were gonna go with the hot brown sandwich being considered an actual sandwich, then with the same argument, you'd have to say that pizza's a sandwich.
Something like
That's
that.
not
Yeah.
a sandwich.
yeah, no, that's
But
But there's
absolutely
only
not
one
a
piece of
sandwich.
bread. Bro.
Now this begs the question: if you were to take just another piece of bread and put it on top, would
Yeah,
that be a
to me
sandwich?
that
Yeah.
would
If
be
you
a
pick it up
like
and eat it, then
like
definitely.
the
So-
breakfast bagels that you get at like I don't know a breakfast bagel place.
Sure. Yeah.
Like,
Is that a
like
sandwich?
Like to me that's a sandwich. Two
Yeah, sure.
two bagels
That's
with
No,
like
yeah, that's definitely a
egg,
sandwich.
sausage,
That's not a
stuff like
sandwich.
that's a sandwich to me.
Yeah,
but
for
like
sure.
that, it's like so close. It's so close to being a sandwich.
Yeah.
But it just falls
just
short.
needs that other piece of
Just the
bread.
way that you're eating it, like with no top part.
Now, is it? If you eat it with a fork and a knife, is that one of the disqualifiers?
If you
for
eat
being
if you eat a sandwich with a fork and knife, it's still a sandwich, but you're just a creep.
You're just eating it the wrong
so
way.
By
in order to
choice.
have a sandwich, you need to be able to pick it up. Yes.
You should be. Able
I mean, like
to
you
pick
ate
it up
pizza
and
with
eat
a
it.
fork and knife the other day at Saturday. Like, does that
Me?
mean pizza?
I didn't do that.
Yes, you did.
What, on God?
Yes,
I
yes,
feel like
on
I haven't done that
Ish,
in years. On Ish.
on Kobe.
Okay, maybe no, I did because the cheese. Was
Yeah,
extra
I mean,
hot.
let's not. We don't have to throw variables in there.
I
focus
feel like
on
I
the
need
task
to
at
explain
hand.
myself to
Yeah, okay.
our loyal listeners here that I'm not a man that eats his pizza with a fork and a knife,
Yeah,
unless under excruciating circumstances, which I feel like I was.
So I actually found a pretty interesting article from
Sure.
mentalfloss.com.
okay,
Sure.
Yeah,
I've never heard
I
of
go
it.
there. I'm a daily reader of them.
I
Actually,
use them in all my papers.
But
Actually,
they wrote this article in March, and there is a quote from a gentleman named Mark Wheeler who works in food and safety at the USDA. He said that according to the USDA, a sandwich is, quote, a meat or poultry filling between two slices of bread, a bun, or a biscuit, end quote. Therefore, according to the government, a hot dog is a sandwich.
Do we really want to trust the
No,
government
because
here?
it said it said because it said between two
happen
pieces
to
of bread.
disagree with a lot of what the government.
bun or
And there doesn't have
goes
to be
for.
meat or poultry in it either. I don't think.
Well, yeah, I don't agree with the meat part.
PB&J is not a sandwich
Yeah.
according to that definition.
Mark Wheeler also says that a burrito. He says that a burrito is quote a sandwich-like product.
Tell Mark Wheeler if he wants
Yeah.
to run by the
That's okay. That's why this guy is posted to whatever floss and not like New York
Ivy
New York
Floss
Times.
and-
The toppings don't matter, right?
Let's not call them toppings.
mean-
Well, the filling, I don't know. The non-bread-like ingredients.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's just like
Generally, they tend to matter less.
they do tend to matter.
Yeah.
And then the
So
I
structure
get
is
the
more
sense that
important.
the structure is the crux of the argument.
But okay, put anything in between two slices of bread. That's a sandwich.
except other bread. That would not be a
No,
sandwich.
You all never had a bread.
Triple decker bread.
Now, can bread be part of it? Because McDonald's, what's
Like
their
a
sandwich?
Whopper?
Yeah,
The Big Mac.
The Big
Yeah.
Mac. The Big Mac,
Yeah.
of course, has
That's different.
another
McDonald's
piece of
Whopper.
bread.
No, I'm talking like bread, another slice of bread, and then the top slice. That's not a sandwich.
Come on, man! Like
a bread
that's bread sandwich struggle. That's like ice.
That's
Yeah.
definitely a bread sandwich. I will
You have
die
that for
on
dinner.
hill.
You have a ice cube cereal
Yeah, bro.
for breakfast. Like that's like a healthy meal right there.
I would say that, like, I would have to line up with the ingredient rebel, where it doesn't matter what it is. You can put anything between the two pieces of bread or your top and bottom, and I would consider that a sandwich. However, I do think, with the exception of like a sub sandwich, I'd have to go with the structure purist as well. You've got to have a distinct, either not separated, but a distinct top and bottom. They can be connected on a side, I would say, but you've got to have a distinct top and bottom with your fillings, whatever they may be, in order for it to truly be considered a sandwich. And I think that, to add on to that, something that's not covered in this chart that I think is actually kind of important is, it was actually brought up earlier, is how you eat it. Because, you can, as long as you can take it and eat it with your hands and pick up, I think that's an important part of a sandwich, because going to like the hot browns, not really a
Bro, that's not really a good name for a sandwich.
But it's a real thing. On every
I know it's a real thing.
I have actually, I never heard them by that name, or at least it sounded familiar, but I didn't want to admit to eating that right away, but I have actually had those. I would not
Bro,
say,
you wouldn't catch me eating anything called a hot brown.
would not call that a
Yeah,
sandwich.
Utah's baby.
Bro, if it takes you down to North Carolina, you're gonna have to have it, man.
I mean, I've had
delicacy
southern
down there.
food. I just will not eat something called a hot brown. I'll eat shrimp and grits 7 times in a week before I have a hot brown sandwich.
Okay, sure.
That's just how we roll out here.
I also just call them open-faced sandwiches.
Open face sandwiches, yeah.
I mean, I'm not calling it a hot brown.
And
Unless
you see-
there's a closed-faced version.
I'm not gonna go to a restaurant and be like, yeah, I'd like a hot brown sandwich. Like,
I
that's
mean,
not something you'll catch me
Closed
doing.
face, please.
I'd like the hot brown, but can you just slap another piece of bread on the top there?
They'll definitely look
Now,
at you.
based
like
on
it's crack.
Ethan, based on everything that you just described to me,
He's about to say hot dog.
I heard nothing that disqualified a hot dog being a sandwich. Now, you can hold it and you can eat it exactly like a sandwich. You said it yourself. The two pieces of bread can be connected. And, it's a piece of meat in between the bread, and you put your toppings on and you eat it like a sandwich. It's not like an open-faced sandwich where, you can't hold it.
Right.
You hold it, it's in your hand. I feel like the way you eat it is very, very similar to the way that you eat a sandwich. So...
But
What's
when
it, are we like racist against hot dogs here? Like, what's the
you
situation?
can't be dropping that. Whoa!
I feel like we're
we got
unfairly
sponsors. You can't be
picking on-
dropping that.
I feel like we're unfairly picking on hot dogs for no reason.
I don't think that I personally don't have anything against, like I see where people are coming from when they say that a hot dog is a sandwich, but I've got to go back to what we were talking about earlier, where not only is there like almost like a stigma sort of thing with the hot dog, but you have the hot dog bun. And yes, there is a distinct top and bottom, or like left and right, depending on like how you look at it or hold it. I understand that, but like was mentioned earlier, it's almost just like a vessel. You put the hot dog in it and like you're ready to go. You got to put way more into like a sandwich, even a simple sandwich. You've got to like put stuff in between two pieces. Whereas like, I mean, I think hot dogs and tacos are more similar than a hot dog is to a sandwich. And I can't for some reason I can't 100% go a hot dog and taco a hot dog and a taco are both sandwiches.
Ooh.
I can't
You
go.
can't go there.
I can't go that. I can't go that far. I see where people are coming from, and I see their argument is supported, but I personally can't go there.
I mean, like with the hot dog, like when you try and eat it like a sandwich, like with the opening facing out, like it almost turns into a burrito because like you're not like closing it all the way, but you don't want what you put on it to like fall out of your bun. So
But
I mean, that's
feel like
why
you
you eat it upright, though, and that's
Well,
why
yeah,
it
and
is.
that's what
I feel
it's
as though
meant
you
to
aren't
be.
closing it. You aren't closing a hot dog, so it's not, it's not like the bread is completely around. Like, it's still open on one side. And sometimes, depending on how messy the hot dog is, you might want to
Yeah.
hold it sideways.
Now think about it this way too: if you were to take like some of the
If it's
some
messy,
breakfast-
wouldn't you want to hold it?
I don't know.
Some breakfast places-
Sometimes, when the hot dog, like,
I mean,
some buns, in my experience at least of eating hot dogs, sometimes the
Great Value ones.
the little piece of bread that connects the two bigger
Yeah.
pieces.
It always
It's very flimsy.
Flimsy. So then, all of a sudden, there's a little opening on that side.
Okay,
That's a
I
It's a sandwich.
that made me think of a question. Yeah, like when the little thing rips off, because that happens to me all
So
the time. There's like a
during-
specific brand.
This is very interesting.
I don't know what it's called.
So when you're eating like your
Probably.
3 for $6 deal, like giant giant brand like hot dog buns.
Oh, okay.
In the process of eating the hot dog, if the bread disconnects at any point, does it turn into
Does it become a
sandwich?
sub?
Does it turn into a sandwich?
It might just
quite
become a
how it
sandwich.
I mean, I can't. I
But-
gotta think that one through.
This
It
is
really might. It
interesting.
might be.
But then I have to think like it's just a faulty product. Like it's not meant to break.
But so if I rip it before and it doesn't accidentally break, then is it a sandwich?
I mean, I think
I feel like it's the same end goal.
But the difference is, like,
End
if I
result.
go in there and I just put it, let's say I don't. I'm going to play devil's advocate here for a second.
I feel like I have been for most of the conversation.
Let's just say that a hot dog in its purest form, with the two buns connected,
Yes,
is
sure.
not a sandwich. If
In your opinion, I don't want
Hypothetically.
I don't want you swaying the vote of the entire group
okay,
here. but yes.
hypothetically, I think that a hot dog in its purest form is not a sandwich.
Sure.
If before I put the hot dog on the bun, I tear the two pieces apart, then my intent changes.
Sure.
So then, does that make it not a sandwich?
Does that
Maybe
make
to
it
the
not-
person eating
when you
it.
break it.
But if I purposely rip it apart,
Yes.
does it then become not a sandwich?
So you're saying that a hot dog is originally a sandwich, but
It is
No.
originally not a sandwich.
so when you break it apart, it becomes a sandwich.
That's the question.
I feel like there's a very strong argument to say that it does, because what's the difference between that and any other sandwich?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
I mean,
just
it
like
really
getting a
doesn't
sub with a wiener on it.
I mean, if you can eat
That's
it
a way
that
to say it.
then all the
that's
power
one way
to
to
you.
say it.
I mean, you really don't want the wiener to roll out of the buns, but
I'm saying it's like
It'd be
the
hard, you'd have to, like, hold
glizzies.
it with both hands around.
but the thing about them
thing.
Wawa glizzies,
The thing about the Wawa glizzies is you just never know how long the Johnson bullet in the joint. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, like
Like
I
they
could eat,
ain't
like,
got no
day-old
timestamps on there.
glizzies,
Like I don't know how long that glizzy been out there, man. That's crazy. had to share. But unless anyone else has some final points they'd like to make about sandwiches overall, where do we stand on Pop-Tarts? Ravioli, I think, is a very
Ravioli,
apt description.
Yeah,
I think.
raviolis.
Well, I mean, that's the closest they are. I think they're just Pop-Tarts.
Yeah, I mean, I just
Mostly,
refer
like,
to them.
frosting on top anyway.
Frosting.
Like,
Alright,
unless
one-
you get the unfrosted version.
Pastry
One
is
last
its own
point.
separate
Oh yeah,
class, so
I mean, it's basically a
it's technically
pastry.
a toaster pastry.
Is a
I think
croissant
that's-
a pastry, like a chocolate croissant?
that's
or
a
an
pastry.
almond
well, yeah.
croissant?
Oh, yeah,
If it's a
yeah.
No,
chocolate,
is that a sandwich? Is the question.
No,
What? No.
What?
completely
You're
You
reaching.
put stuff in it, yeah.
I mean, yeah, if you put stuff in it, but
Like a
that's
ham and cheese croissant.
Yeah,
You
that's
guys
a sandwich.
Hell yeah, that's a sandwich.
what a croissant? Oh wait, you're
Like,
talking
you know when
about-
like you
okay,
open
I
it
know what
up
you're
and it's
talking
like
about. yeah.
Cut it open.
Yeah, I know what you're
stuff
talking
the jar
about.
inside.
I was thinking of like, the enclosed one. And you just put
Gotcha.
stuff in it. Like that's just a calorie.
yeah, like sometimes like the chocolate croissants they just have it inside. It's like
that's what I was thinking of.
so here's my last
Sure.
question. So if a Pop-Tart is a ravioli, then what is an Uncrustable? Is it a ravioli or a sandwich?
Oh, that is a good question.
Wow.
You got Albert Einstein with that one.
Because it's not two separate pieces of bread.
No.
It's crimped like a ravioli.
That's ravioli. That's definitely ravioli in my book.
It's gotta be.
I mean,
I feel like it's got to be ravioli.
but it's
But
shaped like ravioli.
peanut butter and jelly sandwich is a sandwich.
Yeah.
No,
Yes.
no
But
two ways
it's their
about
fault.
it.
They sealed it off.
But it's the structure, not the ingredient. That's the debatable part.
When they sealed the sandwich, they sealed themselves away from the
Yeah.
rest.
From
Being classified as a sandwich.
yeah.
And with
That's
that
how I
goes
lost
my
the shot.
business.
Yeah, I don't think I can buy them anymore.
I don't think I can either.
I can't even look at them.
I can't be.
I don't know if I could look at them.
But y'all really out here selling me Italian food? I didn't even know it. Like,
I know everything was a ravioli. You know what I'm saying?
Life's just a ravioli.
But does that mean, by your previous theory, that an Uncrustable is a dumpling?
yeah, by the transitive property.
By the transitive property?
If an Uncrustable is a ravioli and a ravioli is a dumpling, then an Uncrustable is a dumpling.
Definitely.
Interesting.
What's the difference between
Because
a dumpling and a
I
ravioli?
feel like the Chinese food game was kind of like
Before.
it was kind of made before it was the
Yeah.
original. So I
Yeah,
think
so then Marco Polo brought back noodles and dumplings. Spaghetti and ravioli!
and a few hundred years later, the Americans made Pop-Tarts.
I mean, the Italians just threw some tomatoes on those
Yeah.
dumplings and some cheese.
Yeah. But I think it's final vote time.
Is it time to
boys.
vote?
I think it is.
All right.
Where do you guys land?
We can start with Aaron.
It is a sandwich.
Ooh.
I would also have to say that a hot dog in its purest form is indeed a sandwich.
You said in it.
You said it is?
Yeah, early,
It is.
In its
No, I was
purest
saying
form?
that was me playing devil's advocate. I said hypothetically, if I thought it wasn't,
Oh.
would separating it change it?
Interesting.
I've got to stick to my guns here, and I'm going to say a hot dog in its purest form is not a sandwich.
I'm gonna have to agree with Dewald here. I think in its purest form, it's not a sandwich. It can become a sandwich if opened up,
I do like that
but
theory.
it's not intentionally a sandwich.
Yeah, I'm the same boat. It's not a sandwich, but if you were to destructively rip apart the bun, it might be a sandwich.
I'm gonna have to go ahead and say a hot dog is a sandwich. Now, I think
so we
that
tied.
that does
Now
come with. I do think that comes with controversy, but I think it is indisputable if the buns were separated at any point during the consumption of the sandwich that it is most definitely.
That's sort of out of the question, though.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
yeah, I
true.
mean,
That's very hypothetical.
All right, the vote is tied. The only thing to do now is to fight to the death.
Hit up our comments section to break the tie
Yeah.
at HeCheckPod on Instagram.
What if we
and
did like a Twitter poll?
Ooh,
do
I
Twitter.
like the Twitter poll.
We
idea.
get like all 8 of our followers to vote on it. 4 of whom are in this room.
Perfect.
By the way, go follow our Twitter.
Go follow us on Twitter, at HeCheckPod. All right, so this off season, I think has been one of the craziest, one of the most, very most intense, intriguing. I feel like there have been a lot of moves, a lot of new faces in new places, a lot of coordinators to watch, a lot of turnover around the league in the NFL, and I'm very excited for this upcoming NFL season. I think that it boasts some of the biggest storylines, and I can't remember a time that I've been more excited for football to start. Really, we'll start to unpack a lot of these issues. But what are some of your guys' favorite storylines? Heading into the season now.
All right, I think pretty much everyone in this room can agree on the biggest storyline, and this happened very recently. But the entire Antonio Brown off-season situation
Saga, really.
It's been an entire saga for sure, but just the entire summer for him was just one crazy ride after another.
One meme after another.
Yeah, really.
Still going.
Yeah, so,
Yeah, still going.
We'll pull up an exact timeline of the Antonio Brown saga, but he of course had a falling out with the Steelers. Him and Big Ben didn't get along. What was the big situation there? Really?
Antonio Brown thought Ben Roethlisberger was racist.
Yeah.
That was definitely part of it. Also, Antonio Brown has a very big ego, and so does Big Ben. And they didn't really.
They didn't mesh.
They
Yeah,
did not mesh.
I think last year was also the first time in Antonio Brown's career that one of the fellow wide receivers on the team really challenged like his position as like the top dog. I think he didn't like Juju rising to stardom. Like Juju was voted team MVP. That's usually Antonio Brown's title. So I think that and
really
just not getting as many targets as usual because some of them are going to Juju. It just he didn't like that.
Yeah, for sure. And as a neutral in the situation of the Pittsburgh Steelers situation, I find it very difficult to root against Juju in any way. He's just a likable guy. Yeah, like anytime you see him, he has just a radiant smile. He's just he's always like he even interacts with like Ninja and everything. He's playing Fortnite and stuff. Most people, especially outside the sports world, know who he is, and he's gaining a lot of celebrity, which.
And he
used
can ball.
to be.
Scares me a little bit. I'm not gonna lie, it scares
ball.
me a little bit because I don't want him to end up going down the same path that
I don't think he will because
I don't think he will either. But
was Antonio Brown like doing like Kids' Choice Awards and stuff?
He was not.
Doing all that.
I don't know. Like Juju seems different, man. And of course, it's just him and Ben now. Le'Veon Bell, that whole situation. Which also came to a surprising end. He signed with the Jets this year.
I always thought that Le'Veon Bell was the locker room cancer in Pittsburgh, but boy, was I wrong.
Well, I mean, it's not like you were wrong. It's just he wasn't
the big one.
Yeah.
Honestly, after all this, I personally, I actually feel better about Le'Veon Bell, liking him personality wise, than I did at the beginning. At the end, should I say, of his last season in Pittsburgh. I was really fed up with all the contract disputes. It's like you're really complaining about a $1 million difference. Like you're really still going to be the highest paid back in the NFL. You're still making more money than most people will ever see probably in their lives, and you're still going to complain. So I was very upset about that. But after this, he never had any shade on anybody else. He was still congratulating and talking with James Conner during his whole holdout. I mean, he was still involved. You never had any problems. Ever since AB, even before he left the team, I mean, he was, the best adjective I've heard described by multiple people is the whole the locker room cancer. I mean, he really was, for most of his time in Pittsburgh, it was all about him, his numbers, his targets, his stats, his awards. He didn't give a damn about anything else.
And to be fair, he was the best wide receiver in the NFL.
Oh, for sure.
Indisputably for quite a number of years.
For sure.
And so, as the summer progressed, he of course got traded for a 3rd-round pick and a 5th-round pick. To the Oakland Raiders. A lot of people, especially right at the time of the deal, thought that was nothing. Yeah. And of course, the situation in Pittsburgh had deteriorated quite a bit. So they did feel kind of the need to get rid of him at that point.
Yeah, so really, it was March 10th that this trade went down. A lot of people forget that he was going to be traded to Buffalo.
Yeah,
he was going to be traded to the Bills, but he was going to Buffalo.
I was awake that night too, and Antonio Brown was going to Buffalo. It was going to be him and the Josh Allen show, and I thought that was going to be the best storyline, and then it just kind of fractured. It seemed like he heard that report had come out, and then he was like,
"Oh, no,
I don't want to go to Buffalo." And then it fell through.
I mean, I think the Bills were worried he's just not going to play for them. He just refused to play.
Yeah.
And so then what ended up happening was, I don't remember if it was later that day or later in that week.
It was that night, I thought.
It was pretty quick.
It was a few hours, yeah.
But the Steelers shipped him off to Oakland in exchange for a 3rd-round and a 5th-round pick. The Raiders gave AB a new deal worth $50 million over 3 years, with $30 million of that guaranteed. Remember that. That's going to be important later. And also, the Steelers had to eat $21 million in dead money for his contract. So they had to eat $21 million of his contract. So a lot of people thought that the Steelers lost that trade. I also, as a Steelers fan, was very much on the Steelers lost that trade wagon. I mean, we can now see that that's not really true.
Yeah, there's been a lot of developments in the meantime. But,
a big thing about the way Mike Tomlin handled that locker rooms is less about solving it and more about just keeping it away from the media as much as possible. So, really, I mean, obviously we've seen a lot of what happened in his last days in Pittsburgh and since then, but I mean, there's a lot of things that could have went down in that locker room with that team that we just don't know about.
Does anyone else remember when he Facebook live streamed the locker room talk after the
Pats game?
Caught speeding on his way late to practice.
The week before
the Pats game in the AFC Championship, and like you can't be doing that by any, not just like courtesy, just like
you can't be doing
league rules. You can't do that.
He had like some really high story like hotel room or something like that, and he was dropping things from there, and he like almost kill someone.
Yeah. So he got traded to Oakland. All was quiet for a few months. We were like, all right, AB's a Raider now. He's going to play for them.
Get excited for hard knocks and everything coming up.
And then July 26th, he pulled up to camp in a hot air balloon.
Yeah.
So, it looked like he was ready to go. But then on the 30th of July, Brown shared a picture on July 30th of his feet.
His feet, yes.
What had happened was he was in France or something, and he didn't wear the right foot protection
for the cryogenic
for the cryotherapy,
therapy.
And he got frostbite on his feet. So that same day, he had to leave Oakland to go see a foot specialist or whatever, and he missed a lot of those
camp,
OTAs and stuff like that in that time. But no one expected it to be a long-term issue. And then everything, we're like, all right, AB's still a Raider. And then August 9th...
but can we just talk about that?
We can talk about
just like a
that.
quick
was disgusting.
Second. Like, how are you going to mess up like that? I feel like that's just such a gross mental
I think
error.
as we can see now, AB...
What was he wearing in there? Flip-flops?
He just he has this like big ego where I think he just didn't think like that these guys, what they're saying even matters. Like, he's untouchable.
Continue, please.
And then on August 9th at 4:24 p.m., Adam Schefter tweets, Raiders wide receiver Antonio Brown has told team officials that unless he gets to wear his old helmet, he will not play football again, per league sources.
And he threatened to retire.
He threatened to retire, and he filed a grievance. He wanted to wear his old helmet, which was the Shut Air Advantage.
And he was told by the league, he was notified that he would be able to use that helmet all of last year. Right. But that year would be
his grace year.
His grace year, and that he would need to switch over to a new helmet. And I guess he didn't find a new helmet, or he didn't like a little bit of both. He didn't like the new ones.
We're getting to that. So then he tweeted out, I disagree with the arbitrator's decision, but I'm working on getting back to full health. Looking forward to rejoining my teammates on the field. We saw how that happened. But anyway, on the 13th, he asked Twitter, looking for a Shut Air Advantage adult large that was manufactured in 2010.
That was more of a joke, I think. Yeah.
I mean, I think he was looking for one. Just weird. Anyway, on the 15th, he said, "Oh no, I never threatened to retire over that," but pretty clearly did. Then on the 17th, after his newer helmet failed the safety test, Brown calls the NFL's ruling an example of, quote, super prejudice, which is not really any...
I mean, the way that he argued it is that the reason that the NFL was picking an issue with him is just because it was him. It was Antonio Brown, this big household name, and they were just using him as an example, I guess.
And then August 18th, Oakland Raiders general manager Mike Mayock of NFL Network fame says that Brown needs to be, quote, all in or all out. And we all thought AB was all in. Then on the 19th, very next day, he filed another grievance with the NFL.
Yeah.
Because his loophole scheme the first time to get that newer Air Advantage helmet didn't work.
So he missed practice,
He missed a lot of practice.
Yeah, so
he never spent 3 consecutive days with the Raiders.
The two important practices that he missed for the fine, he missed in that time period.
In that time period during the helmet grievance.
Yeah, and then right after the all in or all out comment.
Yep. And then on the the August 25th, he lost that second grievance, and then he got an endorsement deal for a new helmet. And then September 4th announced he would be wearing the Zenith Shadow for 2019, which he might still do.
It's actually a good helmet.
Probably will.
I know nothing about football helmets.
I don't have a lot of experience with football helmets either.
So this is all from a USA Today article, this chronology. And they add in here that on the finale of Hard Knocks, Brown's teammates joked about the look of Brown's new helmet, calling it, quote, a mini fridge.
That's to say, it looked like a Power Ranger.
So then, the same day as he announced a new helmet, September 4th, he shared a letter from Mike Mayock on his Instagram story that detailed $54,000 in fines.
This is where everything starts hitting the fan. Right. So he put this letter on his Instagram story, and he complained to the world about how because at that point correct me if I'm wrong, he had joined the team, and he came back and he came out and said, I'm all in, and he's, at least for a few hours, 12, 24 hours, it seemed like he made this triumphant return to practice. He was running routes and everything, and John Gruden, seemed like everything was fine, and everything actually seemed like we had came to the end of it because he found his helmet and he'd come back on the field.
Right.
And then the next morning we find out that he gets fined $55,000 for not showing up to practice, which is an owner's or the GM's discretionary thing. He doesn't have to do that.
In this letter, Mike Mayock says that he gets fined $14,000 pursuant to Article 42, Section 1A,
whatever, for missing practice
of the CBA. For missing the walkthrough on August 22nd, and then $40,000 for missing Raiders preseason training camp on August 18th, which is the same day that Mayock gave his all-in, all-out tirade. So Antonio Brown posted this letter on his Instagram story with the caption, quote, "When your own team want to hate, but there's no stopping me now, devil is a lie. Everyone got to pay this year, so we clear." End quote.
Everyone get to pay this year, so we clear.
I guess. And then September 5th, a heated altercation with Mike Mayock.
Yeah, they got into it. They were yelling at each other.
Yeah,
and
so
he left the facility, and it appeared that they were going to suspend Antonio Brown for their week 1
yeah.
match.
So Ian Rappaport said that the altercation did not get physical, but after a screaming match, Brown told Mayock that he would hit him in the face, and then punted the ball and said, "Fine me for that," which is pretty badass. Except then they did, and he didn't like that too much.
So they fined him an additional time, and this is the
right. But first, the next day on September 6th.
There
was an emotional apology, and he had the team captains flanking him in this locker room apology to all of his teammates, and it was super emotional and all this.
And John Gruden came out and said he's going to play week 1.
Yeah, that was surprising to me.
And everything, I feel like the common trend here is that there have been a few moments where all seems well, and then stuff hits the fan. Because at that moment, I have Antonio Brown on one of my fantasy teams.
Multiple.
Multiple. I shifted into the starting lineup because he was going to play week 1. He's, the best wide receiver, one of the best in the league. And it seems like he has a good rapport with the team at that point. And he said sorry to Mike Mayock and the whole team. And the team captains were on his back.
Yeah, so then also on September 6th...
For the screaming match. And everything.
he got fined again. And then later on September 6th, Antonio Brown dropped one of the toughest hype videos I've ever seen in my entire life.
It was pretty
that
tough.
Included a recording of a conversation that he had with John Gruden, which after the fact we've learned that John Gruden approved. He was like, "Yeah, you can use that," and all this. So there's no animosity there.
At the time, though, people didn't realize that, so a lot of people being like, "This is illegal." He wiretapped him,
and then it came out. John Gruden said like he liked the video.
Yeah, he loved it.
Sure. Yeah.
And then later on September 6th, the Raiders fined Brown reportedly, and so they fined him $215,073.53 for conduct detrimental to the team on September 4th, thereby voiding the $29 million worth of guaranteed money in his deal. And then just about 10 minutes later, he posted on Instagram, and he said to release me. And then about an hour later, they did.
Yeah. That was probably the craziest thing. I think that was Sunday morning.
That was
Saturday morning,
September 7th. So yeah, Sunday.
Yeah. So that morning is when I saw the Instagram post and everything. And
Saturday.
That was Saturday morning. I feel like the fine is just, I don't know. It seems, I know that everyone's like on someone's side here, but I find myself, especially after these moves, to be unquestionably on, at least I was, for a good part of this exchange between Antonio Brown's and the Oakland Raiders, siding with Antonio, just because they fined him unnecessarily multiple times, and they fined him at the end there with the sole purpose of voiding his guaranteed money and trying to make his contract week to week, which they know he isn't going to go for, and they know he doesn't want. So they intentionally made him mad and took away that and kind of forced Antonio's hand to say, release me. And then they did. And that's how it went
then later that day, he signs with the New England Patriots, surprising nobody. $15 million deal, 10 of it guaranteed.
1 year, yeah.
Yep.
Still don't know where they got the money to do that.
No idea.
Well,
They took it out of Tom's
cut-
contract.
They cut two players to make room for Brown on the roster.
Wow.
They cut...
Because they couldn't add him to the team technically until Monday. He had just agreed to terms with the Patriots on that day, so he couldn't actually play Sunday, and he couldn't be a part of the team technically until Monday. So they then cut two... I don't remember who the players are off the top of my head.
Obi, what's his name?
Doesn't matter.
Yeah,
Yeah, they cut two
Wasting
players,
time.
and
Yeah,
then Brown
and then
took
traded
one
Darius
of theirs.
Thomas.
Anyways, so he landed in New England, and
I thought it was done. I was like, oh, damn, he's a Patriot now. Like,
Yeah.
that's it.
yeah.
That's not it.
No, that's not it.
I don't
So-
remember if it was yesterday
So
or
yeah, this
morning.
broke last night. So time of recording, we're recording this on Wednesday, the 11th of September. Antonio Brown, it come out that he was charged. He was
Not
charged.
It was a civil suit.
Oh yeah, he was. Yeah.
He was accused of 3 counts of
Accused,
sexual
yeah,
assault,
sorry.
including rape of his former trainer, who we met when they were at school at Central Michigan.
Yeah.
And they actually met in a Fellowship of Christian Athletes Bible study group,
That's
which
pretty
I think is kind of
interesting.
ironic considering
That's interesting.
what has transpired since then.
It's
Yeah.
not very Christian.
That was not very Christian.
But yeah, so he's been accused now of I believe 3 counts of sexual assault. Rape and sexual assault. So the NFL's launching an investigation. The Patriots have been very hush-hush about it. And Antonio Brown's representatives, of course, have denied all allegations. So we'll see how that goes in. As for playing week 2, I wouldn't bank on it.
I would not have done it.
But yeah, just really one of the most interesting stories that just keeps...
Bizarre.
Yeah, just
Yes,
real
so
bizarre,
bizarre.
and just new twists and turns that I don't think anyone really sees coming, has seen coming. So, of course, we'll see what happens, and hope the best for everyone. Hope the best for the trainer. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, so we'll move on from Antonio Brown now.
And I think another issue that's kind of been washed away because of the Antonio Brown news is the Ezekiel Elliott saga. I feel like
my
Well, I mean, it wasn't really much of a saga.
no, I feel like this was a huge saga.
He was born in Cabo. They paid him, and he came back. That was it.
Yeah.
In hindsight, sure, but this was a very, very heated, intense debate, and really it was played out a lot in the media. Conversations between Zeke and Jerry Jones. So, at multiple points, the question, at least it was all over First Take, Undisputed, all those sports
Those guys
talk
are all
shows.
morons.
I'll excuse that comment for now, but it was all over every single talk show that do the Cowboys need Zeke? And I think a lot of people think that they do. I personally think that they do, but of course the offensive line is good, but Ezekiel Elliott is he's the best running back in the game. Maybe Saquon is up there.
that's neck and
So you
neck.
can, they're very close. So, but the Cowboys offense isn't what it is without Ezekiel Elliott. And given that they have Super Bowl aspirations, I'm not commenting on whether that'll happen or not, but they have aspirations for the Super Bowl. They can't do that without Ezekiel Elliott. So there was kind of this game of chicken as to how much are they going to pay him. They were one of the big, coolest things about it is that they were, in essence, in making this deal, they have the only precedent of Todd Gurley's deal, which a lot of people now, especially given his arthritic knee, believe is not a good deal. It was not a good deal for the Rams, and that they paid him a lot, too much. Now, Ezekiel Elliott has no arthritic knee, and he is at the top of his game, and the Cowboys need him. He decided to hold out a year before, so he was really redefining the market for running backs. So a lot of these guys that need to be paid soon are staring at Ezekiel Elliott's deal, and of course, their mouths are watering. They're going to get a lot of money. So I think that whole question was one of my favorite to look at because, of course, running backs sell jerseys, and they're one of the most important players on the field, but they're generally seen as replaceable after their rookie contract.
They are replaceable.
Sure.
I mean, but like look at the Steelers for early 2000s. Jerome Bettis,
Sure.
Straight to Willie Parker, same success. Rashard Mendenhall, success. Le'Veon Bell, success. Now to James Conner. I mean, it's just there's always another guy.
I mean, I would even bring up a recent example. You look at the way Austin Eckler played for the Chargers.
Sure.
He was phenomenal.
He was amazing, yeah.
He really just made everyone forget about Melvin Gordon, I think.
And, yeah, I think that Melvin Gordon comparing his situation to Ezekiel Elliott's, if anything, hurt Zeke's case because they aren't the same. It isn't the same situation. If you look at the number 2 in Dallas, it's Tony Pollard.
Who's a dog?
He is a dog, but we just drafted him out of Memphis in, what, the 5th round, 4th round? Fourth round, yeah.
I mean, it's not the same type of player.
And we picked up, what's his name? Alfred Morris.
Yeah, just released him.
And just released him, of course, when Zeke came back. But that was our situation. It's not like we have a proven Austin Eckler who balled out last year, of course.
Yeah, and even
in a complimentary role to Melvin, to be fair. But he's explosive. Justin Jackson, also good. But I don't. It's just it's a different situation, and I don't know. I do think that Zeke's deal. He deserved it, I will say, but I think he'll be hard pressed. He'll definitely be in the conversation for the Hall of Fame if he's even. Hear my if he is worth that deal in the second half of the deal. If he can maintain his value, given that the league salary cap is increasing and whatnot, but if he can make people think that deal was not a bad deal, I think Cowboys fans are happy. I think that that's a good situation overall. So I challenge Ezekiel Elliott to stay healthy, which he has remarkably for this early part of his career, and I believe in him. Yeah,
I think that it takes an exceptional generational talent to sign to a deal like that. Mm-hmm. I can only think of a few backs off the top of my head that deserve that type of money, with Zeke being up there. I think Saquon coming up is ready to make some massive bank for everything that he's shown. I think Run CMC, Christian McCaffrey is going to be up there. I mean, that guy is all-purpose. I saw something the other day that he was on the field for 100% of the offensive snaps in Carolina's game last week.
They needed him, and
that was
to bring it within 3 points of the Rams.
And he wasn't just like a decoy either. He was working every single snap, whether it was running a route, blocking, running. I mean, the guy can do it all. I would even suggest throwing Le'Veon Bell's name into that situation. I do think he is a premier back in the league. I think he still has it. Is he what he was 3 years ago? No, but I mean, you're never going to bounce back to 100% after injury. But I still think he's one of the premier backs in the league, and I think he should be paid like it. Mm-hmm. And is Melvin Gordon up there? I think he has a strong case. I don't think he's helping himself with his holdout, but I do think he's up there in the list as well. But it's like the list goes on, but the point is, like, there are how many running backs in the league on active rosters? If you go maybe 3 per team, there's 32 teams. There are almost 96, almost 100, because you got to account there's some more in there. There's almost 100 running backs in the NFL. Not every single one should get a contract like Zeke
only
did.
The top 20 are really quality backs, I would argue. Top 20.
Yes,
30.
and of those top 20, I still don't even think all of them deserve those types of contracts. Because running backs...
Sure. It's because Zeke isn't just a top 20 guy.
He's a top 2 guy.
Yeah, I mean, so obviously a top 2 running back is going to get paid more than the 20th best in the league.
So I do want to discuss just week 1 really quick.
Yeah, for sure.
For me, honestly, the most interesting game was, I think, the 4 o'clock game between the Cardinals and the Lions. And there's a lot of interesting storylines here. Okay. First of all, they tied, which is...
That's crazy.
I can't remember ever tying in the first game of a season. Yeah. Oh, man, it's been so long.
But, I mean, remarkable... I mean, look at it this way. There were 2 big rookie debuts in this game. You got, for the Cardinals, Kyler Murray. Yeah. Where's his stat lines? Right here. He was so they're really going with the air raid office here. He threw the ball 54 times, 29 completions, 308 yards, 2 TDs. He was sacked 5 times.
He only looked good in the second half of that game.
Right. So
the first half,
fourth quarter, really,
they put up 18 points in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
And that was all on Murray's back.
Yeah, so
He
they
carried
had
the team.
a Zane Gonzalez field goal, and then David Johnson 27-yard pass from Kyler Murray, and then Larry Fitzgerald
Beautiful
4-yard
Larry
pass from
Fitzgerald,
Kyler Murray with
I don't know
the
how he still does it.
2-point conversion. And then on the other side for the Lions, you've got T.J. Hawkinson, who's the
he's
tight
the
end they
rookie.
took 8th overall.
Yeah.
He had 6 catches, 131 yards, and a touchdown.
Boy, he looked fast.
He looked pretty good. And then another interesting, just a team debut for the Lions, Danny Amendola. A lot of people probably didn't know that he ended up in Detroit.
It was weird seeing him. I had no idea. Yeah.
He had 7 catches for 104 yards. So, I mean, new guys making moves in new places. We love seeing that in the NFL. And then, of course, you got the old heads, Larry Johnson, 8 catches for... Not Larry Johnson. Larry Fitzgerald, 8 catches, 113 yards, and a touchdown. So that for me, that was the most interesting game of the week. I don't know about you guys.
For me, I'd have to go with that first Monday night game.
Oh, the Texans and Saints.
that was
Saints.
fantastic. That
Yeah.
was real good.
And now it was pretty chill until it was
Bro, it
an
was chill
interesting
until, like, the
game
last
until
minute of the fourth quarter.
the last 4 minutes, I guess, and then the Saints go down and they score a touchdown, and then the Texans get the ball back with 40 seconds or something.
Not a whole
Takes
lot
two
of time.
plays.
Yeah,
Yeah.
2 plays.
2 plays. First, a beautiful pass inside the 40
Goes
to
to Hopkins.
Yeah,
DeAndre
DeAndre
Hopkins, and then
The TD to
Kenny
Stills.
Stills caught the touchdown there, put them up 1.
They were up
and then they
1 with
missed
43 seconds left.
the extra point.
They missed the extra point, but there was running into the kicker.
Oh yeah, but
Yeah, yeah, and then
so,
they made
so they
it.
got it.
And it was 28-27. And then Drew Brees does a Drew Brees Hall of Fame best quarterback ever type
He had
thing.
35 damn seconds left in the
And
game.
2 seconds left. They got it, in a good enough position.
The 58-yarder.
Banging home the 58-yarder. What a bomb that kid
That was the most insane game I've seen in a while. Let alone a Monday night game.
Yeah, I mean, we were so lucky to start out the year with that.
Yeah,
honestly.
definitely.
And on a fantasy standpoint,
Yeah.
honestly, I think just from in general what I was observing, very disappointing. Very
Not for me and Dylan.
well,
Not for me.
some people balled out. However,
I beat you.
the general people, the general players you expect to be those home run hitters, those racking up 20, 30 points a game.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't have that. I mean, you had players like Tyreek Hill who got 4 points.
4 points.
he got
Sammy
Well, you got
Watkins.
hurt. Yeah, that's why.
There are a lot of people
that comes into the second part of the conversation here. But so you had all these people that people were expecting to put up mountains of points, and then for some reason, whether it was injury or just inconsistency or no targets, you did not have those turnouts. And then also, I personally enjoyed watching that Kansas City Jacksonville game.
Gardner, baby.
Well, Sammy Watkins.
The huge talk
Sammy
this
Watkins
whole
is the-
offseason.
yeah.
We've got Nick Foles
Conversation.
coming to Jacksonville. We're going to bring back 2 years ago when you had Blake Bortles in a defense. Now you've got Nick Foles. It feels so good. First drive of the game, breaks his collarbone.
Yeah.
Out for
That was a rough hit.
over half the season. So you've got Gardner Minshew making his NFL debut
Yeah, he's
and balling out.
22 of 25, 275 yards, 2 TDs.
That was insane. And, I mean, Pat Mahomes comes out, does what Pat Mahomes
He had
does.
300 yards,
380 yards, 3 TDs.
Yeah.
Over
Pass
almost
rating 143.
almost 200 of those to Sammy Watkins.
Yeah, 198 of them to Sammy Watkins.
I mean, the dude was an absolute baller. He had a bit of a scare for us in the first or
left
second
the game.
quarter
Yeah,
when he
yeah,
left
yeah.
for a little bit,
Yeah.
rolled his
I
ankle.
think Matt Moore got 1 play.
But he came back, and it was like he was never gone. Tyreek Hill, it's big hit for the team. I don't think it'll hurt him too much. They've got Mecole Hardman,
Yeah,
which I
yeah.
truly believe is like the next upcoming Tyreek Hill, minus the
He's got the build for it. He's
offenses.
got the 40-yard dash in St. I don't know that it's like 4.340 or something like that. But
Very similar
Yeah.
times. I mean, I think minus the off the field issues, I think he'll be like the next Tyreek Hill player. So I don't think they're really hurting in that aspect. But that was just a very. I mean, it didn't. I think the end result was what most people were expecting. I don't think most people expected Duvall to come back and win that one.
nah.
But still a very entertaining game to watch with Minshew making his appearance and Pat Mahomes. He's just an entertaining person to watch.
Fun to watch.
I mean, I don't know. It's like you're watching a different sport when you're watching him play.
Yeah, so just a couple of notes on Mecole Hardman. He ran a 4.33 40 at the combine with a 10-foot broad jump.
Yeah, it's
so
insane.
Pretty insane athlete
For
that we're
sure.
talking about.
Hopefully they can develop him. Something else that I feel like we can't go without talking about. I pay attention to the NFL, of course, league-wide news, but I pay special attention to my Dallas Cowboys.
You already brought up Zeke. Like, we got 10 minutes left.
All I want to say is that another one of the big topics was Kellen Moore's offense, and at least
I don't even know who Kellen Moore
so you see,
is.
this is the thing. Kellen Moore, he used to be backup quarterback for the Cowboys, but they just kind of they harvested him from within the organization to become the offensive coordinator. And Dak comes out and has a perfect passer rating, 400 yards.
So Kellen Moore is out there like guiding the ball into receivers' hands, right?
Okay, so who do you want me to say is deserves all the credit here? Dak?
I mean, I would give it
Dak's
to the Giants' defense.
I would also.
Yeah, we definitely had like the worst.
All I want to say
defense
is
in the
that
league.
a lot of people were really curious to see how this Kellen Moore offense would go, because I feel like that's
I was
okay, whatever. But
Cowboys fans were.
But yeah, a lot of people were interested in that, and all I've seen in the media is him being praised as some kind of whisper to Dak Prescott. And
You've heard that? I have heard.
I've never seen that.
I've heard a lot of that. Actually,
I'm sure you've heard a lot of that.
But yeah, we'll see what happens.
You're all up in Cowboys Twitter.
I'm sure you guys won't start validating me until we start playing like the Eagles and Patriots and all that later in the year. But you just want to sprinkle some Kellen Moore hype in there, see what happens.
What? I still don't know who that is.
Offensive coordinator, bro. Just roll with me. But yeah, besides that, Patriots, Patriots at the Patriots steamrolled over the Steelers.
Why do you have to bring that up, bro?
I mean, I feel like it was the Sunday night game. I feel like we got to talk about
Yeah,
the
but
Sunday
like
night game
everyone
a little bit.
expected the Patriots to win. I'm a Steelers fan. I was like, damn, we're probably going to lose. I didn't think we were going to lose that bad.
I did expect to lose.
Yeah.
That is true.
And I gotta say, this weekend did not disappoint after that snoozer of a Thursday
Especially the
night.
Browns blowout. What a great game that was.
Yeah.
Derrick Henry saved my fantasy weekend.
Yeah, the Titans are insane. Well,
It's more like the Browns are just kind of
not
bad.
like-
The Browns are not good.
But yeah,
I'm also purposely ignoring Lamar Jackson because I think he's a running back.
I think Lamar Jackson's. I disagree with a lot of what you say
I
about Lamar
consider this
Jackson.
until he can repeat that for multiple weeks, like 6 weeks.
Find
If
me
he can
next
repeat
week.
that over 6
Find
weeks.
me next week.
Next week, dude. Anyone?
Next
can
week
have
they're
a
playing
hot
the
streak
Cardinals.
They're playing the
game.
Cardinals and then the Chiefs
You just said
and then
okay.
the Browns.
How long does he need to do it for?
They don't play a decent defense until
because he did it for the entire end of
Okay,
last
Pat
year.
Mahomes put up record-breaking stats.
Is he
and
still not
lasted
validated in
the
your eyes?
entire
Okay.
season?
Yeah.
Lamar Jackson last season was on fire when the league had no idea what to do with him, and then what happened in the playoffs? He choked.
Okay, he came up against
bad.
seven cornerbacks
bad.
and defensive backs
so
on the field.
So bad.
The Ravens don't play a decent defense until week 9 when they play the Patriots.
Are we really going to wait until week 9
Yeah, we are.
of Lamar Jackson greatness
So
just for you to
week
validate
1,
him?
Dolphins. Week 2, Cardinals. Week 3, Chiefs. Elite offense, not a great
Chiefs?
defense.
Yeah, they're not a good defense.
Week
They
4,
got names, bro.
Week 4, Browns. Not a
Browns
good
have
defense.
a good defense.
No, they don't.
They
just got diced up by the Titans.
Okay, look at the
43
names on the
points.
defense.
I
That front
see the
seven
names.
is
Did you see them give
dirty.
up 43 numbers to the Browns?
to the
Titans?
Oh, my
If he can put up those types of numbers, either consistently for like 4 or 6 weeks maybe, or against a really tough opponent, and he can still do that, then I will start to give him a little bit more credit where it's due.
I'll try to-
Otherwise,
yeah.
I really think the credit goes to not John Harbaugh as much, because I don't think he has much to do with the offense, but
I think he does.
I don't know who the offensive coordinator for Baltimore is. But
so you
gotta
want to give
credit-
it to anyone except for Lamar
You gotta
Jackson and
credit-
John
you
Harbaugh.
gotta-
I mean,
Dude
I'm
threw
waiting
the ball
on
like
giving it
5
to
times.
Lamar Jackson.
Sure.
I mean,
It's so easy to have such good stats and a perfect pass rating when you throw the ball 5 times.
Week 5, at Steelers, not a good defense. Week 6, Bengals, garbage defense. Week 7, Seahawks, average defense.
Above average defense, please.
no, they just
It's
let
not
up like.
2014.
Do you see what John Ross did to that defense last
He
week?
diced them up. Week 8,
I'm hoping that's Hollywood Brown,
Week
too.
9, Patriots.
So wait until week 9.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're waiting until Week 9 to see if Lamar Jackson's any good.
I'll let Lamar cook for 8 weeks until you guys can start.
If he can
acknowledging
cook
him.
on bad defenses all he wants.
All right. I just think that Lamar Jackson deserves more hype, and I think that it was quite.
He gets so.
It was very, very tough of him to
Everybody
say
is
not
on
bad
him.
for a running back when people asked him about his performance. And yes, he did that a lot last year.
I could have done that to the Dolphins defense, bro.
No, come on, man. we need to stop this Lamar
I do
Jackson
think that
thing.
I do think we have to pump the brakes a little bit, just like
I'm
because
not
Joey said,
putting him in the
because of
MVP conversation yet or
because
anything.
of the Dolphins
but,
defense.
yeah.
If it was against literally any other team, I probably would be giving him more credit where it's due.
Yeah.
But
Except for
Anyways.
the other 8 teams that he's
except for the
playing.
other 8 teams they're playing. In the
we'll
first half of the year.
we'll have to come back to that one later in the season, but yeah, so definitely looking forward to all these storylines. We'll see how they develop further into the NFL season. I'm personally looking forward to it. You know,
it's gonna be
Yeah,
a
yeah.
good
we'll be on our
It's gonna
couches
be
every
an
Sunday
interesting season.
along with you guys, just watching that.
You know, for precedent.
But yeah, thank you all for joining us. This has been a great return, start of season 2. We're hoping to go strong this year, and appreciate all the support, and looking forward to getting back in the studio and doing our thing and kicking it. So this has been a great episode. I've been joined by
Aron Jaffe.
Joey Bohley.
Ethan Dewald, Dylan Wolfson.
Brandon LaRocco.
and I'm Abhishek Goel. Let's blow this popsicle stand.
Yeah.
Shout out Bryce Whitney.